Hey, what's up everybody? It's Guy and Kicks here, back at it again with another review. And in today's video, it's probably one of the most requested reviews that I've been asked over the last few months. One of the things a lot of people keep asking me is, to do a comparison video within New Balance models. And at the time, I just didn't have enough sneakers, or I didn't have a particular model to be able to do it. So now over the last few months, I've been able to collect quite a few pairs of New Balances, and at least I have a decent amount of New Balance sneakers within the 99X line, which are some of the most popular models of the, New Balance. So now that I do have those, it just makes it a little bit easier for me to do a comparison video and just put these sneakers, side by side, talk about how they feel, talk about the sizing, talk about the comfort and materials and design and things like that. And that way you guys can make a better choice on which one you like the most, especially if you're new to New Balance. It'll just make it easier for you to decide which one you like. It's one of those things that when I got into New Balance sneakers, I wish I had seen a video that was comparing multiple pairs, and that way I can just watch one video and be able to decide which one I like the most. But it's all good. Hopefully this video helps you guys decide, and let's get into it because I don't want to make this video super long. So today I'm going to be reviewing 6 models within the 99X line. Most of these sneakers I've already done a standalone review, and I'll leave a link to those reviews so you guys can go check them out and be able to see more of a detailed look of those particular sneakers. All right guys, so let's get into it. The order that I'm going to introduce each sneaker is going to go from model number, so from low to highest. So we're going to start with the 990 V2, the 990 V5, the 991, the 992, the 993, and the 998. So starting with the 990 V2 in this beautiful gray color. This is a very clean shoe. The suede materials on this 990 V2, of course, is super premium. You have a mostly suede overlay with mesh underlays on this 990 V2. The 990 V2 is a very interesting shoe because it was a big design change from the original 990. I believe it was about 16 years from the original 990 to the 990 V2. And here they introduced some new technology. You have some absorb cushioning system on this 990 V2. As you can see on the heel of this midsole, you do see some exposed absorb material. Obviously it's covered in this plastic bubble to protect it. You have this plastic heel stabilizer. You do have some 3M material here on the lateral and medial side. On the end logos, on the heel of the shoe, you do have some additional 3M here where you do have this USA embroidered, and underneath that you have some 3M material. You also have some 3M here on the toe box area as well. Overall, in my opinion, I really like this 990 V2 model. I like it very much. I like how this shoe looks. In terms of the comfort, I would say this one feels, at least for me personally, that is more on the firmer side, but it does have a nice balance of some softness as well. When comparing this 990 V2 to the 990 V5, I would say the 990 V5 does feel a little bit softer, and it could be the Ortholite insole, but this one overall, it's on the firmer side for sure. In terms of sizing, I went with a size 10 here. The reason being is because it is a little bit more narrow here around the toe box. So I wanted to play it safe and go with a size 10. I've said it before, most of my made in USA's, I go a 9.5. So here I went with a size 10, which is usually the same size that I buy most of my Nike sneakers and Adidas sneakers. So if you're someone who likes that snug fit, then go a half size down from your regular Nike and Adidas size. All right, so the next shoe is the 990 V5. This particular shoe means a lot to me. It was my first New Balance sneaker that I reviewed on my channel, and this was the shoe that really got me into New Balance sneakers. One of the things that I love the most about this 990 V5 is the all-day comfort that you get. You do have Ortholite insoles in this particular model. The cushioning here does feel a little bit softer compared to most of the sneakers that I'm talking about today. I like how this toe box is a little bit wider, and you do get a little bit more room here for all-day comfort. And I definitely appreciate some of the aesthetic changes here that they added to this 990 V5. This 990 V5 features end cap as the cushioning system. In terms of sizing, here I went with a 9.5, and it's definitely a perfect fit. So I actually went half a size down. All right guys, so the next one up is a 991. This is the anniversary edition. This was my first 991 that I ever bought. When I saw this colorway, and obviously being an anniversary year, I definitely had to cop this shoe, and I definitely love it. This particular model, this anniversary one, has probably the best quality suede out of all my sneakers that I own. The suede that they use on this exclusive model, it is so buttery smooth. I mean, you have to like see this in person and touch it to appreciate it. The upper here is primarily that suede overlay with the mesh underlays. You have 3M materials on both ends on the lateral and medial side. You have a little bit of 3M here on the toe box area, and then on the heel part, on the heel collar here, you do have some 3M, And then here where normally it'll say 991, here you have a 2001 embroidered, and underneath that is 3M as well. One of my favorite features of the 991 model in general is the exposed absorbed material here on the heel side and also on the lateral and medial side of the shoe. Unlike the 990 V2 where the absorbed material sort of gets cut off in the middle, this 991, the absorb pretty much wraps around all the way on the heel part of the shoe. In terms of comfort, the midsole on this 991 feels pretty good. It's pretty balanced from heel to toe. But my biggest knock on the 991 is that the toe box area is quite narrow. On this particular 991 model, I went with a size 9.5. And when I put this shoe on, initially felt like, man, this shoe's gonna feel too tight. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to wear this, but it did break in a little bit. It does feel better. I do try to make sure that I do wear thinner socks when I wear this model. However, I do own 3 other models of 991, and for those models, I did go with a size 10. But this is a model that I don't know if I can trust it to wear all day, especially if I'm gonna be sitting somewhere where usually when you sit down, your sneakers, your shoes feel a little bit more uncomfortable than when you're walking, like for example, like when you're on a plane. So I'm not sure if this is a shoe that I would like to wear when I'm traveling. So for that, I do have to knock it there. But overall, I do like how the 991 looks, and I love what they've been doing here in the year 2021. So next one up is the 992 in this gray color. Again, you're gonna have primarily a suede overlay and a mesh underlay. Similarly, you have some 3M logos on the lateral and medial side. You have some additional 3M around the heel collar of the shoe, here where you see the 992 on the lateral side, and you also have a little bit of 3M here around the toe box area. The suede material here on this 992, of course, it does not disappoint. It's top-notch suede here for sure. You know, the 992 is arguably the most popular New Balance sneaker over the last, year or so. This model has been killing it, has some really dope collaborations, and rightfully so. I don't think the 992 is just hype. I think most people like the 992 because how comfortable it is and how the shoe looks overall. Out of all these shoes, the 992 probably has the chunkiest midsole, especially as it transitions all the way to the heel part of the shoe. The midsole tends to get a little bit chunkier. You do have some exposed absorbed SBS on the heel part of the shoe and on the lateral side as well. So overall, this 992 does feel very comfortable. The toe box area, it is wide enough so you don't feel super snug in there. Definitely a dope shoe to wear throughout the day. If you're gonna go for long distance walks, walking around the city, traveling, super comfortable. I took this shoe to Puerto Rico about a month ago, almost 2 months ago, and I was just living life rocking the 992 walking around the city. So definitely a huge plus here for this 992. In terms of sizing, here I went with a 9.5, similar to my 990 V5, and it is a perfect fit. I feel like even though with the 9.5, I do have to say that it does run probably a little bit bigger than the 990 V5 and a 9.5, so keep that in mind as well. Next up is a New Balance 993 in this vintage indigo colorway. I do have to say that the 993 model is probably the most underrated model out of all of these that I'm reviewing today. You know, I've said it before with the 993, it's still a very comfortable shoe. It looks very similar to a 992, and I've always suggested the 993 model for those that don't feel like paying resale for a 992 and don't want to pay that much money for a 992. The 993 is still readily available. Probably not the gray colorway, but this vintage indigo blue is definitely on site, so you guys can go cop this if you want to. I think the 993 deserves a lot more love, including myself. I haven't worn this particular pair in quite some time. I've been having it sitting here, but I do need to wear it more because it is an overlooked model. Here on this 993, you have this beautiful blue suede. Feels very smooth. Definitely high quality. You know, the 993 does not take a backseat when it comes to this suede material. Definitely feels very nice and premium. Like always, you'll have that 3M on the end logos on both lateral and medial side. A little bit of 3M here on the toe box area, and just a little bit of 3M here around the heel collar, not as much. You do have that USA there in the middle. You have the 993 here on the side on the heel counter. You do have this translucent plastic heel stabilizer here on the midsole. The midsole and the comfort system on this 993 is the Absorb DTS, and it does have a little bit of exposed Absorb DTS all the way around the forefoot part on the lateral side of the shoe. The comfort and feel on this 993 feels pretty similar to the 990 V5 and 992. Again, you do have a wide toe box here on this 993, so your toes are not gonna feel super snug. So I do like that very much. And in terms of sizing on this 993, I went with a size 10. I do recommend going half a size down, similar to what you would wear on your 990 V5 or your 992. For me, I went with a size 10 here, and it does fit a little bit big, so I should have gone with a 9.5. But overall, I do recommend going with the 993 if you haven't gotten it already. Eventually, New Balance is probably gonna discontinue this model, similar to what they've done in the past with other models. And then at that point, you're probably gonna be like, damn, I should have bought it when it was available for retail. So don't sleep on the 993, and I will definitely try my best to wear this a lot more and show this model some more love. And finally, here we have the 998 in this gray color. Similar to the other ones, you have gray overlays with mesh underlays. This particular model seems to look the more futuristic out of all these other models. The other models have, you know, that chunky dad look vibe, where this one here is slimmer. The midsole kind of looks more modern in comparison to the other models. You know, I do like this 998 model here. This suede, again, feels very premium, high quality. A lot of the leather material used on this 998 has like this pebble-like material here on the tongue area, around the toe box, and the heel part of the shoe. The cushioning system here on this 998 is the Absorb cushioning system. However, I do have to say that out of all these models, the 998 definitely feels the most firm out of all of them. Another area in terms of how the shoe feels is that on the lateral side, you sometimes feel the midsole sort of poking on the side of your foot. But with that being said, I still like this model very much. And it's not like it's uncomfortable or anything like that, because it is very comfortable. The inside of the shoe feels nice and soft around your toes, so you'll be fine in terms of rocking this. I'm just comparing it with the other models because the other ones feel a little bit softer, and the platform on the midsole on those other shoes is wider in comparison to this one where it's more narrow. All right, so I can't make a comparison video or a versus video without picking the one that I like the most in terms of sort of pound for pound, you know, look, comfort, feel, materials, etc. I can't cop out on you guys and just let you guys decide which one you want to pick. I'm gonna go ahead and pick one, and again, this may change in a couple of months or whatever. I might pick up another model and it might change my opinion and how I feel about it. But for right now, in terms of overall, in terms of how the shoe looks, you know, how the shoe feels, you know, in terms of me, you know, maybe flexing a little bit when I wear the shoe, I do have to say that for right now, my favorite New Balance sneaker in terms of all those things that I mentioned is the 992. I originally had the 990 V5, and man, these are so close in terms of comfort. I put all these shoes on side by side, just comparing it with the 990 V5, and some of these felt pretty much identical. Like the 992 and the 993 felt pretty close to how the 990 V5 feels overall. But for right now, I just like how the 992 looks overall. I like how it feels, and the 992 does have more hype than the 990 V5. So when you wear the 992, those that know New Balance and they see you rocking a 992, all right, they feel like, all right, man, he's got some 992s on, he's rocking some heat. In comparison to the 990 V5, which is more of a general release, it's readily available, anybody can get it. 992 is a little bit different. Either you want it, you're gonna have to pay resale for it. So all that involved does make me choose the 992 for now. Maybe in a couple of months, I'll go back to the 990 V5, or maybe there's another New Balance model that I don't own yet that might change how I feel about it. For example, there's the 990 V3 coming out soon, so I'm hoping I can cop that. Maybe that will be the next champ, I don't know. But for right now, 992 is my go-to. And I feel good when I wear it. It's always one of those sneakers that I'm you know, having in my rotation and picking every single time. So for now, the 992 is my go-to against all these other New Balance sneakers that I reviewed today. All right, guys, so that's it for me. Hopefully this video brought you a detailed look of all 6 of these New Balance models. Hopefully this video makes your decision a little bit easier in terms of buying one of these models if you're interested. If you're new to New Balance and you were actually looking at some of these, let me know which one are you gonna go for. And again, if you're new to the channel, you haven't subscribed yet, definitely feel free to subscribe. Hit that like button if you liked the video. I'll also leave a link to my Instagram page so you can go ahead and follow me there as well. And like always, guys, catch you guys in the next one. See ya.